What's up, everybody? Cedric here, CRWC commentary. Now we're reviewing WWE's Crown Jewel event that took place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And just jumping into it real quick. It's a nice opening per usual. I like the opening. It's really good. A lot of green pyro to match the location and the belt of the event. They go with a jade green, I think it is jade, and it represents where they are. So good job. All right. I gotta say, honestly, I view this Crown Jewel belt as more of a novelty belt, or more of a this please them type thing. But we'll just have to see how they work this Crown Jewel belt. We have to just see how that works. Is it annual? Is it? Because if that's what it's going to be, then it's kind of like if the belt switches hands, don't they got to go for that Crown Jewel belt again? Wouldn't it make sense? And if that's how it's going to be, don't you think it's going to sort of tell everybody ahead of time what's going to happen? It makes it look more predictable. And I don't think you really want that, you know, especially when your motto is anything can happen in the WWE. And if anything can happen, you can't make it predictable like that. So we'll just have to see how it goes. So the opening match was a 6-man tag team match. The Bloodline, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns, and after they come out, Jey Uso. He got his intro, and Roman Reigns' intro was epic. The fans briefly erupted, and then they went silent. It was like, yeah, oh, put your finger up, be quiet. They wanted to cheer so bad, they had to break themselves up, and they had 100% acknowledgement. It was awesome. When Roman Reigns is introduced, you know, the fans shout his name as well. But then just, damn, over is an understatement with Roman. That's an understatement. Then Jey Uso's intro. Main event, Jey Uso, top-notch hype. That's just hype. You can't, it's just hype. You can't get any hype than that, you're going to pass out. The fans were more than into it. I mean, wow. So they got me going. I'm ready. But all this introduction took 10 minutes. So look, this was a pretty relative standard tag match. So this match is really just kind of kicking off a new stage in this feud. And I like that. That's what this tag match was for. Don't get it twisted. All right. Just a little bit. So it was like, so Jey Uso stands out on his team because he's the only person in the ring not wearing Bloodline colors. Thomas started as well, but Jey took over, nearly missing a Gamagiri. I mean, he was like really close. Thomas had to lean forward and get his hand up because if he didn't, it would have looked bad. Usos, they got a little beat up by Jacob until they reversed things, gaining a little smile from Roman. And then yeets from the fans. They was doing that, and Tommy gets tagged in and controlled by Jey, and the fans chant they want Roman. Jey with the full twist wrist lock teases and then tags his brother instead. And so I get being petty, but that was more of a heel move. I'm not going to tag you. It's also a I'm angry with you move, but it's like you made up enough to join them, then you should have made up enough since you want to beat Solo that bad to not do this and just tag. I think this was a bad ploy from WWE because that one thing right there could put Jey Uso in heel mode. So that was risky in my book. That was risky. Jimmy loses control. Jacob hit a heavy running hip attack in the corner. I think Jacob's gonna bust his back up one day. That's just, he hits that thing so hard. You think it's going to break. Not him. He'll break later. So Solo, he gets some work on Jimmy. Solo does a great job beating on Jimmy, keeping his eyes on Roman. That was real good. Tama gets tagged in just to mess up and take a beating. So the pattern is clear. Tommy gets in, he takes the beating, yada yada. Jimmy or Jay, they're going to take the beating. Roman will not. That's the cleanup guy. So that's what they do, back and forth, back and forth. So then Roman does call for the tag when there was no one else left to tag, and Jay needed it. So, yay! So Roman and Solo face off. They exchange punches, and I enjoyed that. Cedric and I, personally, we call that Moltar and Space Ghost. Old school thing. This really 2D animation was funny. Roman, he takes control. He hit the flying punch. Solo blocks the spear, which was good with a nice knee. Hit the alleged Samoan spike because it's more of a clavicle slap or something. Makes the pin. Now, here's where I have an issue. Okay, hit the spike, goes for the pin. Now, from the TV angle, the ref just didn't care to call the three. It's like 1, 2, 3. You know, it is what it is. Keep going. That's what it looked like. Like it's 3, but I'm not gonna let it be 3. But on the replay, you can see Jimmy slide into the ring, and it's a little bit late. And he just taps, I think, Solo's leg. That shouldn't have broke up the pin. He just run in and just kind of smacked his foot or his shin. I'm like, just that shouldn't have counted. But I get it. They doing something here. Then Jacob, he gets tagged in. He dusts off Jimmy, catches the suicide dive from Jay, headbutts him. Roman hip tosses Tama into the ref from outside the ring. Jacob dusts off Roman, which is good. He hit the BME, and then he dives onto the Usos, suicide dive onto them, so Jacob just went into rare form. Solo hit the spike on Roman. Roman sat up quick. It was like, bam! And he just sat up. I was like, that won't a body slam, dude. You know, you should have slowly got up. But then Solo, I like his little yell. I like his little boast. And I like that he hit him with another Samoan spike. And he got the 1, 2, 3. And I know that this was needed by Solo Sikoa. This was the right time to display his importance. In this match, Solo showed with that back and forth with Roman, we're getting on equal footing. Now the babyface normally has to outsmart the heel in little ways, so that has to be done. No problem with that. It's all good. But Solo needs to be seen as a threat despite the blonde hair. I ain't got a problem with blonde hair, but y'all just take a brief moment. Imagine Sikoa with red, dark red where that blonde is. Or just no dye at all. Imagine Cody as the dark brunette that he is with the same hairstyle he got. Cody would look like an awesome heel. Just think of stuff like that. Think of Gunther with blonde hair. And it's kind of like, eee. But, you know, blonde is highly socially accepted as good guy hair. So I think that's where it's going. I think when Cody turns heel, he needs to become a brunette, like, you know, in Stardust days. Because that would be awesome. I'd like to see that Cody. I really would. Because I think that holds up. And he'd be a long-term heel. Cody is best suited to be a heel. So after this match, Roman tried to fight back. Bloodline beat him down. I was like, they need help. I was thinking maybe Hikuleo or somebody was coming out. Then they planned to powerbomb Roman on the table, but Jay blocks it and got beat down. So, okay, Jay is on board. That's good. That's good. Babyface status reacquired. Good. Then music hit. And the fans are like, huh? Who this? Who this? Then it's Sami Zayn. He walks to the ring. And I'm like, okay, he walked to the ring to help his buddy Jay to prevent them from Pillmanizing. To help Jimmy to keep from Pillmanizing Jay. But Sami got in the ring. He stood, and I was like, is he being a heel now? Is it? Because, you know, Solo welcomes Sami, and, you know, he looks, And, you know, he looks to the horse-collared Jey Uso, and the chair is on him. It's on him. Then Sammy goes to hug Solo, but turns that into a front suplex. And then the fighter's on. The fans like, yay! Solo was in the middle. Solo finds himself quartered in the middle. The tables are turned, and Solo is surrounded. And I'm like, uh-oh. Solo was awesome. Roman and Sammy go after Solo with their respective attacks. Their somewhat finishes. Solo ducked and rolled out. Superman punch got countered by a haluva kick or something, but it's supposed to be hell of a kick. But yeah, a boot kick. And so Roman is laid out from that. I like that. Jimmy is ticked off. He's pissed. Jay's like, no. Let's keep this from escalating. You know? So twice in one night, the faces lose. This was highly needed for Solo Sikoa. This is needed. He needed this. Because the bloodline has been looking foolish for the longest. And they need, I don't know what WWE, I don't know what Paul Levesque or anybody else got against Gorillas of Destiny, but they need to stop being the fall guys. You cannot, I'm serious, you cannot call these two people monsters, thugs. You can't call them brutal. You can't say that they're vile and vicious and merciless, and all they do is get beat on. What? I mean, imagine if the Big Show just got into the ring and just took a beating. It don't make sense. So next we get the women tag team title 4-way match, and it's bad enough WWE crapped on the champs with this match, but they started off super indie anyway. So if anything, I'm glad the crowd is into the match, but I was bored with it. So Jade carried Green and to the opposing corner, got tagged, right? Got tagged. Jade didn't have to walk from one corner to the other with Chelsea Green, but she did. So Lash Legend tagged in, had some words. Jade military press Green onto Legend, who barely caught her and started gassing out. So then she slammed Chelsea, but she didn't have the strength to do it right, and she slammed Chelsea on her side. She's supposed to slam her on her back. She slammed her right on her shoulder, hip. Chelsea was reeling from that. You could see it. Champs, they hit the Doomsday device on Piper Niven to retain the belt. Jade had Piper up. She was in the electric chair position or whatnot. And when she fell back, she made sure Piper cleared everything. But Jade's back. She won't sell in that. That was legit. Jade was not feeling good after that. I admit Jade looks powerful, but I think Bianca is stronger. And Jade is not someone that's equipped properly for leaping off the top rope, so they did it the way they did it. But I think Bianca's stronger. She has a better lower center of gravity, and she knows what she's doing. So next, we got Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. And I was like, okay, I don't really know Seth Rollins or Bronson Reed that well. Bronson Reed's got to be 5'10". That's a short, round dude, but he looks like somebody you don't want to mess with. So that's good. Seth Rollins, he's more, how can I say, he looks more like the Joker. Like that bad guy that gets you on his side because everything he says makes sense. But Seth meets Bronson on the ramp where they start fighting. Reed caught Seth, threw him over the barricade and into an empty announcer area. Reed throws Rollins into the ring. Then the bell rings. Reed hit the body press from the top, goes for another and misses. Then takes a curb stomp, kicks out on 2. So they got the finishes off early. Yep. I won't feeling that too much right there. But I kept watching. Seth tried to slam Reed, fell back, kicked out on 2. And I felt like this was a setup for a slam later. But I was wrong. I kind of stopped paying attention as it was anyway. But Seth tries to knock Reed down, but he can't. Reed took a flying clothesline and a diving shoulder block. It won't drop it, so that's good. They fought up top with bites and headbutts, and Seth hit a diving frog splash for 1 count. And then we look at Rollins' eyes, because commentary wants you to. I don't know why. People gonna look at his eyes anyway. You don't have to tell us to do what we're gonna do anyway. Reed hit a lovely 180 dragon bomb, but for a 2 count. So I don't agree with that. Reed hit a running Spicoli driver or Death Valley driver for a 2 count. At this point, Reed needs to get a pipe. Bronson Reed, epic powerbomb, a running Death Valley driver, nothing. Reed hit an avalanche suplex with a pause float over for a 2 count. All right, get the pipe, and you might need to get a gun. Reed tells Seth to stay down. Seth's like, you should have finished me when you had the chance. I'm like, if this can't beat you, that opening splash shouldn't have done a damn thing. So Reed tries to dive on Seth twice, but Seth rolls out of the way, making Reed climb down from the rope. They fight outside the ring. Reed gets the steps, then he gets dropped, and then he, does the whole drop the steps, and his face kind of dropped between the crack of it. And then he takes a curb stomp on the steps, and then he gets into the ring after a brief count and takes another curb stomp in the ring, and then takes the diving curb stomp for a 3 count. And he was busted open after that. Yeah, after the one on the steps. But personally speaking, that was suck ass. Reed was busted open, and after the match, Reed stands in the ring staring at Rollins and calling him back for more. Seth is like, you want some more? You know where to find me. You just get more of what you got. And then he steals the Undertaker's line, and I'm sure he's been doing it for a few weeks. Like, I'll make you famous. I'm like, come on, dude. Come up with your own thing. I guess people have forgot that was Undertaker's line. And I thought it was good because, he made Jeff Hardy real famous. And then Jeff Hardy squandered it. Well, nope, I can't say Jeff Hardy did. That was most likely WWE squandering it because they don't, you aren't built like the people we want. So, you just can't do that. So now we get, and this, oh my goodness. Like, what do you got to do, right? This is the women's crown jewel title match. Champion versus champion. The belt is beautiful. It is. It looks better than the guys. Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan. So they showed the x-ray of Rhea Ripley, and I've never seen a skull shaped like that. It was like a V shape. Like it could be confused with an ice cream cone. I don't know. I don't think anyone's, palate is shaped like that. I'm like, okay, it's a work. She got a broken orbital bone. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that x-ray made me think, I've seen enough skull x-rays and it just never looked so thin. It went from good cranium to everything else is like, is that real? So, any case, allegedly listening to Jim Cornette, he said that she did a standing headbutt and basically bone on bone, which is always has been frowned upon in pro wrestling. Tenzan and Toru Yano, that's the worst one I've ever seen. You can go look that up. Tenzan hit that diving headbutt on Toru Yano, and it was a legit diving headbutt. He messed both of them up. Cedra and I were pissed off over that one. So Jax shows her power well, and Morgan shows a good deal of cleverness and evasion. Jax hit a nice pop-up Samoan drop, but for a 2 count. Nia hit a good super Samoan drop for a 2 count. I'm like, okay, get the gun. Because this scrawny little girl should not be kicking out of those things. And then the fans chant for Morgan. Oh, okay. The fans don't like Nia for 3 good reasons, but mainly it's go home heat. Liv hit a sunset flip bomb, the standard against Nia Jax. Then Tiffany runs to the ring, trying to cash in. Nia confronts her. She's like, no, it wasn't going to be against you. It was on Liv. And Nia's like, just go away. The fans are not happy with sending Tiffy away. Tiffany thinks about things, and then she goes in like, you know what, I'm going to cash something in. And then she's stopped by Rodriguez. And then Liv gets the code breaker for a 2 count on Jax. Dom cheers Liv on. That's about all he really did. Liv and Rodriguez corner Tiffany outside the ring, and Jax bowls them over and into Liv. So, okay. This is not going well. No, not into Liv, but into Tiffany. My mistake. Liv Morgan and Raquel or whatever, Rodriguez. Can't remember her name, but she got bowled into Tiffany. So I'm like, Nia Jax just attacked Tiffany instead of just knocking them to the side like she could. Dom slides the case in to distract the ref. Nia was sprayed in the face by Rodriguez. Liv hits the DDT and wins the inaugural Crown Jewel belt. And then Triple H presents the women's Crown Jewel belt to Liv. Yay, everyone's happy. And then we got Kevin Owens. Girl. See, I gotta yell now because Cedra is like sleep. I could just let her snore on because the mic is near her. Ha. God, yeah, I don't cut this out. This is OBS Studio, 1 shot, 1 take. That's it.
Sorry.
I don't even mess around with it. So we got Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, and I'm like, how they gonna do this? Because Randy, you know, he missed the leaping ace crusher and he was hurt. He had to tag out. The crowd, woo! Damn, they know the words to Randy's music. And they were singing, I'm talking unison. Randy had to take a step back from that, like, woo, look at this. And at that juncture, for this, just this, Riyadh outdid Leon France. For this. And they also did it later on. So, you know, congratulations. Y'all got a moment better than Leon France. But Randy boasts and Kevin lays into Randy's legs with a chair. And it's legal due to the bell not ringing. They fight outside the ring. Randy drops Kevin on the table. Randy's leg starts to bother him a bit. Once in the ring, the bell still has not rung, and Kevin uses the chair on Randy and then hit him over the back, stuns the ref, and then keeps attacking Randy. Randy fights back, and the match is waved off as a no contest. That was said by commentary instead of the ring announcer. So, you know, that was a little bad by that. And back in the ring, Randy is in control and gets the chair, but Sean Davari, he's got a role there. He takes the chair from him. Orton hits Green Killer on Kevin. Orton hits the Ace Crusher on Adam Pearce. Owens cheap shots Randy, throws him into the post. They fight past the barricade where Randy fights with Kevin. Okay, past the barricade where Kevin fights with some kind of lid. They said it was like a luggage lid, and he hit Orton one time with that, and Orton, you know, got on the table. Kevin's like, man, screw this. He quickly leaves, goes up top, and he hits a diving elbow drop on the Randy, breaking the table. The crowd is happy. They didn't get a match, but they got a match. So this starts their feud, which could possibly last. I would say this could go past Survivor Series, you know, because there's a good chance that this is them saying, all right, Kevin, we're going to have you work with the big time, and we're going to give you another push. So maybe Kevin resigned or is going to resign. Like, you know what? You want me to stay? Yada, yada. Besides, if Kevin was to leave and go to AEW, what would he go there for? What is there to achieve? At least WWE, he's seen. He's known. He ain't going to get the money he want, but he's going to get a legacy at least. But I thought this was a good start to a feud. Next, we get the U.S. title match. And it's Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and L.A. Knight, the champion. I wasn't going to go blow for blow or anything with this, but the match was high-paced with tons of stunts, but it didn't look stupid. It felt unreal, but it didn't look stupid. No one got in the way of anyone. There was plenty of spacing for individuals to do their stuff. Each got a double pin attempt, with Knight hitting the double jump, double elbow drop for a 2 count from Andrade and Carmelo. All it was good. None of the match was boring. It was a good match. I found this a little funny though. Andrade had Hayes up top. Knight rope ran, but then crotched himself by accident, got his ass up real quick, and got a German suplex on Andrade. And I'm like, at that junction, he didn't have a choice. He did not have a choice. Knight had to hit the spot. They set it up for that. But at the same time, what Knight did was show when you get crotched on the top rope, it's never hurt. And if it did hurt, you got to no-sell it. So it's like, it can still be up in the air. You know? So it's all good. It's all good. But I thought this was also really good right here. With Hayes up top and alone and the other two flat on the mat, Hayes' expression of his fortune was spot on, like, ooh, yeah. Then he hit a picture-perfect high-diving guillotine drop on Andrade for a 2 count saved by Knight. I thought that was just marvelous by Hayes. Hayes tried something. He went behind Andrade after a satellite head scissors, but no throw. Got behind him and Andrade, and Knight just snuck in and hit the snapmare driver on Hayes. 3 count, that's it. Because he hit that snapmare driver, and then by doing that, Hayes threw Andrade to the mat. I think this is a great way to elevate Hayes, show Andrade is still a major threat, and keep LA Knight on top. That was a great way to do that. So now we get to the Crown Jewel men's title, Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Now I know Zedra had her thoughts on it. I'm not going to remember all of hers, but I remember mine because I also wrote them down. I was like, you can't have Raw win twice, can you? Mm-hmm. This is tribal. And even if it isn't, the fans will see it that way. Also, if SmackDown's Cody Rhodes win, then it's even, right? And the fans will call it fake. Because, you know, Raw won, SmackDown won. We saw that coming. There's no win in this from what I can see. Even if Gunther is seen as better than Cody in all ways by the fans, and he wins, it will also tell the fans that WWE view Raw holding the better talent. If Cody wins, yes, it would be equal and look unreal, but then there's the whole you won because of the memory of your father thing that people will want to do. So the last thing that needs to happen is another fiasco like the women's match. Liv Morgan won, but with legions of help. So you don't need that for anybody. So the fans sang Cody's theme, and he was slapping hands with everyone he could reach. They were a bit tiny bit late on his second pyrotechnic burst, but they got it. The fans called out the opponents' names upon their introduction. World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. And for this match, it wasn't a bad match. It was a really good match. I thought it was a really good match. I knew who was going to win.
As did I.
Matter of fact, that reminds me of what your argument was. Cody can't lose.
He cannot.
And that's because of Roman Reigns.
He is holding Roman Reigns' belt. And it's still Roman Reigns' belt because Roman had it for so long. Cody hasn't had it a year. He's still trying to cement himself as what kind of face he wants to be. He's still got Roman Reigns' belt. So if he drops it, if he were to drop it to Gunther, it's like, so the guy who beat Roman just got beat by Gunther. That's gonna look bad on Roman. It's gonna look bad on the whole 2-year storyline they had. So there's no way that Cody can lose it and it makes sense and not just crap on everything.
Yep, he's got to win. Because if he lose, then Roman's like, what was the point of you? Roman would have that argument all day, all night. So, yeah. Now, with this match, they start off with some pro wrestling. Cody being more in control, using the arm. And then he used that to keep Gunther grounded. But eventually, Gunther counters and reverses into taking more or less control with the head using the side headlock. So they got some pro wrestling in. And I miss seeing stuff like that. They both tease and escape each other's finishes. The fans have been going nuts since they locked up. But it doesn't beat Leon France. I'll get to that later. And I don't think anyone's going to beat Leon France. I just don't think so. And the next time WWE go there, I think they're going to try to top what they did last time. We'll just have to see. Because Leon France is a soccer area. Or not football, but football. So we'll just have to see. I'll get to that later. Cody was in control until he tried the bionic elbow, only to get chopped. And he got chopped. The look on his face was like, oh my God. I had to laugh a little bit when I saw it. But Cody tries a suicide dive, but Gunther catches him, throws him to the apron's edge, and then chops him again. Now, what they might say nothing's changed, but no. Gunther's chops are naturally heavy-handed. When he was Walter and he was much bigger, them chops made an impression. No one cared about too much of anything else. They just wanted to see this man chop. And they watched him day in and day out, and they just wanted to see this man chop somebody. He's lost the weight. He's lost a little bit of that catcher's mitt he had, but it's still a mitt, just not a catcher's mitt. So Gunther works Cody over, and when Cody gets a hope spot, he fails to slam Gunther. We saw that earlier, but we're going to see it again. Falling back, kicking out on 2. The fans are doing a wave as Cody gets punched in the corner. I was laughing at that too. I'm like, y'all doing the wave, this man getting beat on. Y'all are doing this for you. So after a few wrist lock chops, Cody slams Gunther to make some breathing room, and then Gunther eventually slammed him back with no effort. He just slammed the hell out of Cody. I was like, he slammed him almost in revenge. I was just like, good grief. Cody hits a shortened avalanche suplex. And I say shortened because when you do an avalanche suplex, the best ones, they stand up fully and fall all the way back, almost like a pendulum. This was more like, I'm trying to keep pace with the level of the turnbuckle. So it was still more like a superplex, really, going on how things can be. But he couldn't go for the pin. They recovered. Cody, he builds some momentum. He's getting his win back. He's doing his thing. He's trying to get the fans behind him. He hits the bionic elbow finally. Cody hit a springboard ace crusher, but for a 2 count. Gunther catches Cody's springboard kick, and without missing a beat, a second, a micron, he turns that over into the Boston Crab. It was smooth. I loved it. I loved that. If he's been doing that on Raw, I wouldn't have seen it, but I thought that was just smooth. Cody gets out of it, and then after a German suplex, Gunther applies the sleeper choke, and they're in the hole for a while, but Cody keeps his arm up when he's checked. Cody eventually fights out the sleeper, crossroads, but too drained to follow up. Gunther hits the drop kick, and they call it a Tyrannosaurus drop kick. I don't know. It's a shotgun drop kick, and then hit the power bomb for a 2 count. Gunther bullies Cody. I was like, uh-oh. At that point, he's all slapping him like, what are you going to do? You know, while paintbrushing himself. And I realized that Gunther's not going to win. And if he does, I'll be surprised enough. Now, I told Cedra, I said, Gunther's going to lose. And she's like, why? I said, because he's bullying Cody. That's a heel tactic that says, I'm about to lose.
It is.
I've seen that too many times over my years of watching wrestling. Cody hits crossroads before a 2 count. Cody then escapes, ducks a clothesline, runs to rope run, and Gunther stands there like, okay. And I was like, why are you just standing there like an idiot? But he rope ran, went for the ace crusher. Gunther caught him into a sleeper. Nice, but Cody pulls a Bret Hart, rolls back. And Bret Hart wasn't the one that did that initially anyway. But he rolls back, pinning Gunther to win the men's crown jewel belt. And the difference between, they like, pull it, Bret Hart. Bret Hart did it way better. Cody had his hands down and Gunther had to keep his arms crossed. Bret rolled back and held the triceps together, almost locking his hands best that he could, so the person couldn't use his arms to kick out. Gunther did a good job at going through the motions of trying to kick out, but what he should have been doing was jerking his legs a little bit, like the actual kick out motion, and turning to the side. You got 3 seconds. You got 4 movements you can make. You could have got those in and make it like you just couldn't kick out. That's what that could have been.
It's probably the best outcome for Gunther to lose this way, because it isn't like he was beaten and defeated. It was just like, you
got outsmarted. It was a thing.
Exactly.
And then after, Gunther shakes Cody's hands while appearing to jaw jack him, but he was probably saying something nice. I wrote LOL at the end of that, but he was like, you did good and you deserve to have this. Hope you do good with yourself. See you later. It could have been something like that.
You look like your shoes. Really clean looking.
Yeah. That's something I would have done, So it's all good, but it's a lose-lose when you go on the aesthetics of it. But for this is the best outcome you could possibly get. Cody has to win on the metric of Roman Reigns alone. And, looking at it like, okay, Raw won, now they won. It's like, yeah, but that exposes the business. As a kid, that would have exposed the business. Hogan did enough of that for me. This would have really done it. If I was, a 12-year-old Cedric would have been like, that ain't right. This dude's better. He's bigger. He's stronger. And I would have went by the moniker that he's the ring general. Cody is the American Nightmare. Isn't that the bad guy? It's just certain things I would have seen like that. But that's, I get it. So that's going to do it. This has been Cedric Procedure for CR Wrestling Commentary on WWE's Crown Jewel event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And I want y'all to be good, be chill, be safe, so that we can see you next time.